The third and final challenge of the Crown of Sorrow raid is live, and it's called With Both Hands. This challenge doesn't force you to play too much differently than your usual strategy in Phase 2, which is the encounter it takes place during. In order to execute this properly, during the damage phase you should only have one team of 2 taking down a pair of hands. Both players in that team should be taking their own individual hand as well. So here's an example of how this works. My partner and I are up first. When the boss brings up his hands for the first time during the actual damage phase, I will take the left hand and my partner will take the right hand. We're only shooting our hand and not helping our partner. Meanwhile, the other two teams are standing by, waiting to do damage. Once the damage phase begins, everyone does damage like normal. But as soon as he begins to raise his hands again, then a second team will go, each of the players in it taking one hand. Then you do damage again, and then a third team will be the only one shooting hands. Each time Galron raises his hands, a different team must be shooting his hands. This means before you begin the encounter, you should assign each player on a team to a specific hand. One player on each team takes left, and one player on each team takes right. The reason for this is because when you get to the damage phase, people can be confused on which one they're going to shoot, so set it up beforehand to eliminate this confusion. You also have to make sure to set up some kind of order to know which team is going first, which team is going second, and then which team is going last. For our run, we had whichever team's area the real boss was at, that team will be number 1, since they are already the closest to the Galron boss. Then the 2 remaining teams will decide as the damage phase begins which one's going second and which one's going third. Some things to note, this can be done in less than 3 hand cycles. If you can melt him quick enough, you don't even need to have every team take a turn to shoot their hands. It's not like last challenge where you needed to have 5 shield breaks. Some of our team members thought that we needed all 3 cycles, so this is why we stopped doing damage at this point, and we didn't kill him, but that was a mistake on our part, and we had to do another round of killing the deceptions. If you can't one-phase the boss, you can do another round of this, but the faster you melt him here, the better. Another thing is if you're using Tractor Cannon, apparently it can mess up the challenge if applied at the wrong time. We had a player apply Tractor Cannon only after his hands were taken down. If you apply it right before his hands come up or during, it can actually fail the encounter because it counts as you doing damage to his hands. And the final thing, you don't need to worry about any pair of hands before the damage phase begins. The hands that you and your partner need to shoot to figure out which Galron is the real one don't count. So it doesn't matter if you both shoot the same one at this point, but we did anyway because that's how we usually do the raid. The only hands that matter are the ones once you've figured out where the damage spot is. And that's it, the third and final raid challenge done. If you missed any of the previous challenges, you can check out those in the description. Overall, these have not been very exciting or creative challenges for this raid, and they didn't make you play too differently from your normal routine, which was a bit of a bummer. I also think for the future, Bungie should remove the clan rank requirement for challenges, as that makes no sense whatsoever and kind of ostracizes a large group of solo players and players in a small clan. For the future, they should definitely go back to the original system where raid challenges were just part of the raid and not a separate bounty that was locked behind clan ranks. Hopefully that gets changed in the future if enough of you voice your concerns. I would very much like to see that changed myself. This will probably be my last guide on the Crown of Sorrow raid. Thank you so much everyone for the unbelievable support both on my channel and for my very first raid guide ever. It got so much more attention and love than I was expecting it to, and even with it being a week late. So thank you all so much for that. In my upcoming video on the Shadow title, I will have some advice for the Flawless Crown of Sorrow and the No Witch's Curse Triumph, but nothing that requires its own video. That's all I have for you today. Subscribe to the channel if you like these kinds of guides, and make sure to turn on notifications so that you don't miss all my content coming this summer and for Shadowkeep in September.